Welcome into the 24/7 Sports YouTube page. I'm Emily Proud alongside Smoke Dixon and Carl Reed here to discuss some of the biggest storylines in the world of college football. And guys, there's none bigger than what's happening at Michigan right now. And coming off a big win at Penn State, the thing that everybody's talking about is the post-game interview with interim head coach Sherrone Moore. Check it out.
I want to thank the Lord. I want to thank Coach Harbaugh. Love you, man. Love the out of you, man. This is for you. For this university, the president, our AD. We got the best players, best university, best alumni in the country. Love you guys. These guys right here. These guys right here, man. These guys did it. These guys did it, man. Talk to him, man. Love you.
I don't know about you guys. I love to see emotion, especially having been a sideline reporter and being in that environment. That's what you want to see. But Smoke, what do you think about this particular display of emotion from the interim coach?
It's okay to have emotions, but you don't have to be emotional. And that's being able to control the controllables, right? You can control being happy, sad, but you don't have to. You're an offensive line coach. There's no tears and no knee-jerk react, like crying, boo-hoo crying. On top of that, you're crying as if your head coach just got the death sentence. He's just on a 60-minute detention for the week, right? We all understand that. He's allowed to be there all week except the 60 minutes on Saturday. You're going to see him and talk to him again. So don't come at us and start crying about how poorly and how bad everyone has and how, no, you're perfectly fine. So when you look at it, here goes who should be crying after the game. The Penn State defense, after running the ball down their throat for 30 times. On 3rd and 11, you're running for 12 yards. Manny Diaz and Penn State defense should be in tears. Second, the offensive coordinator that got fired that's crying in the car going home from Penn State, yeah, he should be crying. J.J. McCarthy, you ruined his Heisman Trophy candidacy for not throwing the ball enough. This guy's not going to New York anymore. He's going to be hanging out with you in Ann Arbor, probably wiping your tears with your Kleenex because you just ruined and crushed his opportunity to be in New York. And the only guy that's left that's not crying and is happy is Michael Jordan, because now, Sherrone, you're now the crying me.
Smoke, you like the guy, when me and my brother was sitting in church when we were kids and the preacher would say something wild, and I can't turn and look at my brother because I'm going to start laughing. My mom going to pop me on the back of my head. Crying, you can cry if you win a championship, if you win the league. Crying against Penn State, beating a team that you heavily favored against, that's a little over the top, you know. But I do understand the emotion, having some emotion, Smoke, because you feel like it's you against the world because everybody in the nation is attacking the Michigan program. So you feel like this is the time to get it all out. Crying, I think that was a little over the top, but, you know, I'm going to give him a pass on it.
You can shed tears, again, right? But your lips can't be shaking and the F-bombs and just start the eulogy. Like, enough's enough. Now, what's going to happen when you go down to College Park and beat Maryland, say, by 30? Are you going to cry? When you play against the Buckeyes, they're ready for you. You beat them or you lose. Are you going to cry again? I'm just saying, if he wants to be famous, he got the famous meme. Michael Jordan, you're not the GOAT anymore of meme. Sherrone got you.
What did you think about the way that he spoke about Jim Harbaugh? I think that's what kind of rubbed some people the wrong way. Speaking as him, like you said, as if he had passed that morning.
Everybody wants a thief punished.
Yeah.
Until their son or their dad is the one who steals the wallet, right? So when somebody that you care about has done something or is in charge of a situation that happened and now the punishment is coming on you, nobody wants that person to have to deal with it. So you look at your program is under attack. If something is to happen to Coach Harbaugh, then all of these coaches get displaced. That's part of the profession. Coaches get fired, coaches get replaced. So it disrupts the normalcy for everybody. So there is some emotion there. You got kids in school, you got family members who get used to living in a certain place, and it looks like this thing could get ugly. So I do understand the emotion of Jim Harbaugh, because under Coach Harbaugh, Sherrone Moore has grown now into one of the top coaching candidates in the nation. should be in line for a head coaching job himself. Maybe the opportunity comes for him to take over at Michigan if Harbaugh decides to move on. So I think from that there is a lot of emotion based in that because of the relationship that they have.
What do players think about that?
I'd be laughing myself off. I couldn't do that. Like, I just saw my head coach out there boo-hoo crying after we just beat Penn State bad. It was a 9-point win, but it really felt like a 30-point beatdown physically, ice-packed. Whoever plays linebacker, defensive line, or safety for Penn State, that whole entire defense, they should have ice packs in the back of their necks for the oncoming week because of physical punishment that you just have. We're celebrating. We might even have a couple of victory cigars. But the one thing that we're not doing is crying over our head coach sitting on the bus, waiting for us to give us high fives, or what America's done to us, which is nothing. What you've done to everybody else. They should be crying for stealing their signals and beating them. That's a judgment that you should put on yourself, not trying to play the crybaby thing. That's enough. Celebrate and just say thank you and walk away with dignity.
Yeah. Along those lines, Jim Harbaugh did speak this week. As you said, he is just suspended for the actual games. He will continue to be the head coach during the week and at practice. And he had to say this about his team. Another quote that I think is stirring some people up. He said, "They've got to be America's team. America loves a team that beats the odds, beats the adversity, overcomes what the naysayers, critics, and so-called experts think. That is my favorite kind of team." Carl, I'm not sure America loves this team right now, but what did you make of Harbaugh's evaluation of his squad and their perception?
Emily, he's doing exactly what he's supposed to do. He has to worry about the guys in his locker room. That is a message to the Michigan football team. The whole world is against you. They think you cheated. They think you won in an unscrupulous way. They have suspended your head football coach. And so now you're going to come out fighting. You're going to come out swinging. It's a rallying cry to rally the whole state of Michigan. They're not America's team, but they are Michigan's team. And he has everybody with the Wolverine, that is a Wolverine fan behind them. Nobody thinks that they should be in trouble. Now, nobody's come out yet and said, do they have the evidence that the signals were in fact stolen or that Connor Stallions was sent by Coach Harbaugh or somebody on the staff? That evidence hasn't been presented yet either, Emily. And so I'm interested to see all the facts come out, but the NCAA doesn't have the same burden of proof that a court would have. So I'm interested to see what happens from here.
Right. So playing the underdog role, your top 4 team, can't play that. Check that box, not there. We're the victim. No, you're the one that's doing the cheating. So you can't play the victim of cheating when you're the one that's a cheater, right? Those are
Allegedly.
Facts. Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Being accused of it. Nobody else is being accused of it, right? So you come back and you play 4 cards that I've seen with Connor Stallions, because this all comes back from there. Because all you're doing now is trying to play your Trump hand if you're playing Trump, right? You're sitting there trying to play. The first one you came out, you said, we don't even know what this guy does in our building. Who knows him? Then there's pictures of him with star players, coaches, you talking to him left and right. What is this, a pressure or not? So that card exit out, right? The second one you come and said, okay, we're going to suspend him with pay. That didn't work, so you got to fire him. The third card that was played is, Connor, you got to take all of this. And he did, like the noble soldier. This is all on me. Nobody else knew about it. No one believes that, because when you're in the building, you've been a head coach before, you know everything that's going on in your building. And if you don't, shame on you. Now, the fourth one is, well, they suspended me, so I got to come with the last one. This is it. Everybody against us. Nobody in this locker room believes in us. We're going to win. You've been beating teams left and right. If you did cheat or you didn't cheat, you've been doing that. Give it up. Just say, I'm guilty. I'll take my punishment, my 60-day detention punishment, and go home. It'll be perfectly fine. And again, you'll be back in 3 weeks. Stop crying. Go away.
You might be back in 3 weeks, Mo. What if they find out over the next 3 weeks that you did know? What if the proof does emerge? What if all the evidence does come out? It's no guarantee that you come back in 3 weeks, because it looks like they're really investigating this thing and they're trying to figure out what is really going on in this issue. So that's no guarantee. Michigan hasn't won a national championship since 1997. So they can still play the underdog card. They lost to Georgia 2 years ago, TCU a year ago. They can come out and say, we haven't done it yet. It is us against the world. They can play the underdog card, but also the evidence hasn't been presented. I can't jump on board against Michigan yet until I hear for sure all of the truth.
Well, the evidence is not there. But the fact that someone in your building allegedly did cheat and you said you didn't know about it, you're guilty of that.
You're always guilty as the head coach.
Right.
No, and since the beginning of the time, the head coach has always been held accountable. Pete Carroll couldn't say, I didn't know where Reggie Bush's family was living or who paid for it. Like, he wasn't able to get out of that. Art Briles wasn't able to say, I didn't have knowledge of this. I didn't really understand what was going on. And football and sports, period, every single time a scandal has happened, the head coach has been punished, whether he knew or not.
But those head coaches took it and said, okay, guilty of that. The other things you can't say I'm guilty of, but not knowing and taking the proper action, guilty of it. Yeah, he's never said that. He's doubled down every single time. Not me, not us, we're not that. Like, there's some truth to this.
Maybe he learned from those guys, though, because they all ended up out the door. Maybe he learned from watching them that taking the whole fall doesn't work out well. If he wants to stay, his athletic director made a statement. They're behind him at the University of Michigan. Some people believe that you should never tell on yourself.
I know Bo Schembechler rolling over in his grave right now just because of what's going on. This is bad for Michigan.
It'll be interesting to see how the season ends up. I will say personally, my issue with the statement is that they're overcoming adversity, and it seems as though the adversity is something that has been created by themselves. Guilty or not, it is all internal when it comes to Michigan. Thank you both for the great conversation.